Hey guys, so I remember that I never really finished doing some of the what if questions that, of course, when you are done streaming and you scroll a little farther, you realize that the better questions were about to come up. So we're just going to pick up from where I left off and then see just what kind of answers I have for these questions from the good old website called Icebreaker. Hey Garuda, I see you. Okay, so the first question goes, what if you could relive any moment in your life whenever you wish to? Which moment would you choose and why? Hey White Knight. This is already starting bad because I feel like I have not really have that many outstanding experiences in my sorry ass life. I'm just kidding. But if I had to choose a moment to constantly relive, honestly, I don't know. I should have prepared for this question since it was going to be the first one. But I guess a moment. Come on, what moment was good? My life so far isn't fun to really. You know what? Thanks for saying that because that's exactly how I feel. There's nothing exciting, nothing extraordinary about my life, but I'm pretty sure that in the future I can come back to this question and be like, "Oh yeah, there's this thing that I have done that I would definitely go back for." But for right now, if I had to give an answer, definitely not a definite answer to this question, uh, I guess I'm going to just say moments that I remember were really good, that really made me excited. And the first one is going to be something mundane, such as getting my license, because that means I did not need to have a licensed driver accompanying me. That means I obtained a new level of freedom, and that was exciting. My high school graduation, it was not all that exciting, so I cannot say that I would relive that moment. And it's not like I had any folks who I was really that mad close to, so it's not like, oh yeah, I would relive my moment to be back with my friends from back then. Like, no. When I got my first job, that was a good time. It definitely arrived at a difficult time in my life because if you guys remember my cancer story, yeah, that was a difficult time, but that made me happy. I remember that I applied for a job that I wanted and I got it immediately, and I have never had any experience, and it was an absolute smooth ride. So I'm like, yeah, I could imagine myself going back to that time and being like, yeah, that was a very happy time in my life. Uh, but but yeah, most of my good memories also come from just spending time with family, I guess. But but see, I don't travel much, so I don't have anything to say about that. Um, I'm not married, so I cannot talk about a married story either. Like I cannot say, "Oh yeah, my wedding day was my best day either." So for now, let's just put a big asterisk by that question, and maybe in the future I'll come back to it because I honestly have nothing. Harley says, "Hi, gorgeous. Hello." And Zam could go anywhere, and she chooses the DMV. Well, honestly, when it comes to renewing my license plate, I'm one of those people who does it online because I would rather not go to DMV. But the aftermath of the DMV, like being examined and everything, and having that card that says that I am a licensed driver, that was something else. I'm just, I guess I attach importance to the things that really matter. And for me, driving mattered because it has made my life so much better. So to me, that's super important. And I just love cars in general. Like, so I cannot imagine not having a license now. What if you could remember everything that happened to you from the time you were born? You know what? The whole reason I would write a journal is to keep track of things like that. I started a journal trying to remember what my earliest memory was. And I feel like I could only do up until the age of 4. Like, I vividly remember when I started preschool and my mother was dropping me off and I threw a tantrum. I was crying. I was like, "Mommy, don't leave me," and this and that. But but yeah, that is the earliest memory that I have. I sort of remember what I was wearing. I feel like I had a white polo shirt and then navy, some kind of a navy skirt. It looked like a uniform type of deal. But maybe we didn't have to wear uniforms on that day, and I'm remembering another episode. But honestly, yeah. But if I could remember everything, I definitely would like to go back to the times when my grandparents would have conversations with my mother, because a lot of it was political, and as a kid, I would just sit through it, semi listening, but a lot of their vocabulary was too complex for me to grasp. And now that I'm older, I realize the importance of understanding politics. So I would do anything just to hear some of the wisdom of my grandfather, because everyone says the same stuff about him. Oh, I wish that you knew your grandfather now that you're older, because the questions that you're asking me about politics, he could have answered for you. And now it's a little too late from that. But I'm someone who likes to dwell in the past a lot sometimes, like looking back and thinking about what could I have done better? What can I learn from my experiences? Which experience turned me into the person that I am today? Or what do I owe my frustrations to or my successes to? So I would definitely enjoy being able to just be like, let me go back to like the year 2000 and the turn of the millennium. How did this feel? How did this change? What was different? How did this impact my life? What stuff started happening at that time that was like, permanently life changing? So but yeah, I've always thought about that. The whole reason I started writing was because I was obsessed with trying to remember my earliest memory. But I'm pretty sure that my mother could assist me at, say, do you remember the first time that you ever traveled? And I was like, no, I don't remember the first time that I ever traveled. Pictures, or it did not happen. So she got out an album of me as an infant. Uh, in another place, and I'm like, wait, what? You know? So that was exciting, but at the same time, it's frustrating because I feel like I have been robbed of that experience. I'm like, Mom, why did you decide to go traveling when I was an infant and I could not remember anything? I feel robbed of experiences. But yeah, I value memories a lot, good and bad. So to be able to do that, I think it would help me be better at controlling my thoughts, because sometimes I feel like I torment myself a lot over stuff that happened in the past. And a lot of the times I remember things wrong. And some people, when we bring stuff up from the past, they go like, "Oh, is that the way that you interpreted it? I'm sorry, that's totally not what I meant." So if I could relive that moment, I could tell people what made me react in the way that I did, and maybe how we can avoid that from happening again in the future. But yeah, that's cool. I'm so glad that that was part of these questions. Let me see what you guys are saying, and I really hope that my stream doesn't embarrassingly crash on me. Do you live in California? No, I live on the East Coast. Adam says freedom or romance. I have to say freedom. Yeah, I feel like freedom does more for me than romance does. Sorry. And he also attaches $2. Awesome. Thank you so much. But yeah, I'll have to, if I were to elaborate on my answer, what would I say? Why do I choose freedom? Well, because it's important to be free. I mean, yeah, I cannot imagine my lifestyle being a happy one if I don't have a sense of freedom. Like, that's very vague, but honestly, yeah. There are plenty of things since I was born that I don't want to remember. I can understand there are plenty of experiences like that, but what can I say? Now that I'm older and I can digest traumatic experiences better, I wouldn't mind going back to that stuff. Like on my stream earlier about how to stomach difficult things, I feel like a lot of my tough experiences, I can definitely stomach them a little better now. Now that I'm older and more mature and just better armed on the mental level. So, yeah, I wish I could block some of my childhood. See, it always pains me when I hear that folks had troubling childhoods. I mean, mine wasn't perfect, but it wasn't as painful as it could have been, and I'm very grateful for that. But it's just it always makes me feel sad because I know that those are the most critical times of your development, and if you don't have very positive experiences attached at such an early age, when you grow older, that stuff starts to show, and it's so much easier to to just grow up and not have traumas than trying to repair a broken adult who still hasn't yet developed coping mechanisms for the stuff that happened in the past. See what I mean? So yeah, it always pains me. And it also pains me that this happens more often than I would like to hear, you know? So, memory is my fourth birthday. My parents got me Thunderbird's costume. I remember flashes before that, but not much, choking and tearing apart my mom's necklace when I was 3. Um, yeah, I just don't remember that much about being 3 years old. Maybe I do have a memory, but anyways. And then another early memory that's visible at this time is when I don't know if I was 5 or if I had just turned 6, but this thing happened and we do not talk about that. But yeah, yes, yes, yes. What if you could spend your life never sleeping? What would you do with the extra hours each day? Okay, I have thought about this so much. At nighttime is when the magical inspiration fairy just visits me, and everything great, cool, fun, awesome in life happens at night. And usually it has to do, I find a very interesting channel, but I have to wake up for my 6 a.m. shift the next day, and it's already past midnight, so I should really try to get some sleep, and I have to skip that. But what I would do is definitely more reading than I already do in my day when it comes to articles. I just love reading a lot of articles. Sometimes in the middle of the night, I think about something that I want to know more about. And it's just sad that when I get my hands on the cool, awesome, fun, intriguing info, I cannot indulge in it because I have to go and postpone it. And oftentimes, when I postpone it, I never go back to it. But I would read up on more history stuff to be the stuff that I'm dwelling on nowadays the most. For instance, how is it that our culture became what it is now? Pretty much the origin of things. But but I would spend time reading that, and on top of that, I would look up documentaries about that because there are some good documentaries out there. I don't like to learn about a subject solely on just watching documentaries, but I like to have visual depictions of what I have read about. And also, at nighttime, some of my best artwork has come about. So I can see myself being more inspired by the peace and quiet of nighttime. And me, since I don't need to sleep, I would have more energy, maybe be more rested, well rested, and focus on that. Because as of lately, I just cannot find myself being creative. Like, I stopped making things. I don't practice music anymore. I don't draw anymore. It's not that I've given up, but I find myself so tired that it frustrates me because I'm not someone who's lazy, but my exhaustion is making me lethargic like that. So if I had time to just spare, that's absolutely what I would do. But yeah, what else would I do? Oh, instead of doing 2 hours at the gym, I would probably work out for 3 hours because sometimes I would love to do 1 hour of cardio, but realistically, I don't have that much time. And also, I would not dread cleaning the kitchen afterward. Like when I drink or eat a pro workout meal or whatever, or sorry, post workout meal, sometimes I'm so tired that I either don't eat, or if I eat, I leave a huge mess to fix the next day. But I have to make a decision of, do I want to sacrifice sleep so that I don't leave a mess overnight and this thing looks gross? Or do I just skip it and then tomorrow I have to set aside extra time to make my mess tidy? So you see, it's stupid things like that that somehow you just lose time in your day due to exhaustion or, things like that. But yeah, that's all the stuff that I can think of that I would do if I did not have to sleep. Because I feel like the biggest mess is created at nighttime. Yeah, because that's my time to go to bed, and I'm not thinking about being up any later to be cleaning up messes. So I know that sounds dumb, maybe, but yeah, to me, washing a cup with a shaker and a lid from my post workout shake, to me that looks like such a dreadful task that I just skip it. Huh. Oh my god. So let me see what you guys are saying. Please don't crash, okay? I'm being nice to you. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. I wish I could block some of my childhood. My first concrete memory. Okay, I just read. Thumbnail already gives me that ability. That's cool. You know what? Back in 2016, August, I went sleeping. It wasn't, was not stressed. I was not, and I just could not. But aspect of it is that it did not have any physical effects on me, except it depressed me because I was worried about why I just couldn't sleep. So, yeah, I'll never forget that. I was so frustrated. I even tried sleeping over at someone else's house just to see if it was just some negative energy here in my room or something, but I just could not sleep. And it's weird because I wasn't stressed, but I was getting stressed about the fact that I wasn't sleeping. So it just did not make my situation any easier. But yeah, I know all about insomnia. Travel anywhere where, interestingly enough, I saw a preview of that question, so I'll go ahead and answer it. And you attached another $2. Thanks a lot. But let's see. If I could go anywhere in the world, I have always said that I wanted to see Canada. It's like really close by. All you have to do is drive north, and there it is. And specifically, though, I have an interest for Vancouver for some reason. Probably because I've never been out there in the Pacific, but everyone talks about Vancouver being nice, so I'm like, okay, I want to go see it for myself. But another place of interest that I have thought of in the past is Australia. I remember this happened when I was in sixth grade because one of my teachers had some kind of presentation on it, and that's when I learned about the coral reef. And I was like, I like the ocean, I like the corals, and I like marine biology and this and that. But then I got older and I realized that I'm actually super scared of the ocean. So you probably will not see me out there in open waters at all. But it's certainly a place that I would like to see. And then, of course, I also, as a kid, had an interest for England only because I have always thought that the British accent is so fun to listen to, and I absolutely cannot make an impression of it. So I'm gonna stop. But yeah, I felt like my favorite movies seemed to be made in England, and my favorite characters seemed to come from England. So I've always had a bias for it. And presently, I also have a bias for it because my best friend happens to reside all the way out there. So I have to go out there and catch up with this person. But but yeah. Um but out of those three, the one that I would urgently go to would be England because of the bias that I have for it. And then Australia, there also happens to be a couple of people who I know who live out there who I would love to hang out with. So don't be surprised if maybe in a few years from now I'm like, hey guys, I am vlogging from Australia and this and that. So yeah, I'm never fond of traveling, to tell you the truth. The idea of traveling outside of the country just intimidates me. But in the name of exploring and meeting people and hanging out and meeting new places, expanding my horizons, I will do it. I will overcome my fear. But yeah, yeah. But all in all, Canada had always been my top place to visit. Let's see. Julia says hello. Hello. Ali says I would ride with the extra time or make some kind of creative work, but chances are equally good to watch TV or something. I wonder if we would, in terms of days, we would still think in terms of days because the concept of time is still there. The only thing that's there, you no longer need to conduct the activity of sleep to function and survive as a human. Like you still have a 24-hour cycle, but the only difference is that there is a lot more to do with your day. And I can imagine that a work shift wouldn't even bother me. I could do probably a 12-hour shift because whatever, I don't need to sleep. But at the same time, if I'm going to be conscious for so long, I wouldn't want to be spending that time doing stuff that I don't particularly enjoy. See what I mean? So to be awake at nighttime without any consequences, yeah, I would say that would trigger a more creative side of me. Let's see. Question: physical, mental, or both? That's a good question, and the reason that is a good question. I have learned that when mentally I am not doing too well, it sort of manifests physically. But honestly, as of lately, let's say for the past year or so, coming up to be a year, I have been feeling much better on the emotional department, mental department. So I want to say that it's more physical. But sometimes I'm not gonna sit here and lie. There is stuff that I sort of worry about, and it does consume some of my focus and energy, and maybe that's what leaves me feeling drained. And also, I tend to live on the go a lot, unfortunately. So maybe I am not nourishing my body like I'm supposed to support more energy. See what I mean? Like lately, I've been having a crash diet. I'm not gonna deny it, but but if I had to choose between both of them, I would say it's really more physical. Um, it does feel different. I remember how I used to feel when I was 19, 20 years old, and now that I am a little past those years, it's like, okay, each year that I get older, I do feel the difference physically. My energy level is still there because it's like I am programmed to no matter where I go to, I am not going to present myself as someone who is tired or let alone succumb to it. But deep down inside, I'm like, I could be in bed all day. Like, yeah, just leave me there forever. But yeah, it's physical. It really is physical. Not only do I work for 8 hours a day on my feet, I also go to the gym for 2 hours, 2 hours and a half sometimes. So am I really giving myself need? Probably not, because I don't feel uh what is it? I don't really feel sleepy until past midnight. So I wish that I could maybe sleep for 8 hours a day. And I know that would make a difference, but I'm someone who the most I can sleep is 5 hours. And I have tried melatonin and other sleeping aids, but it doesn't do it for me. Let's see. What's another question? What if people cared more about doing the right thing than doing things right? Is it bad that immediately I can't tell the difference? Doing the right thing than doing things right. Yeah, what is the difference? Well, I guess doing the right thing would be more important because that way you don't have to worry about making things right later. Like, if you do something right the first time you do it, you don't have to worry about correcting it in the future. So, just whatever you do things right, and you will be a life free of concern. I don't know. Why am I tripping over that question? So you guys throw a lifesaver at me and answer that question for me because I'm literally tripping on it. I can't believe that. What if you could not make your own decisions, but you had to choose someone else to make them for you? Who would you choose and why? Definitely my mom. I cannot imagine entrusting someone else with my personal decisions than my mother because she knows me better than anyone else and she would know what's right for me. She has known me for every single year of my life, but if mom wasn't an option, then there's certainly so there is this guy who I would also trust making decisions for me. But the reason I would choose them is for the same reason. They just know me well. And the way I know that they know me well is they understand me as an individual and therefore they know my needs and they would know how to execute whatever I need to live a full life. What if you had to spend 100 days on a desert island all alone? What 10 things would you bring with you? Sunblock. Lots of sunscreen because your girl gets burned easily where you might see me. So that's one. The second thing would be lots of water. I don't even know how many gallons I would bring, but definitely lots of water. Hopefully this desert island somewhere somehow has a waterfall. Just because it says desert island doesn't mean that it's just a desert. Like, islands tend to have tropical climates. Tropical climates support vegetation and whatnot. But I'm hoping that this specific island has a waterfall of some sort because I would also bring with me lots of bars of soap because your girl needs to smell fresh at all times. And on top of that, I would bring lots of bottles of lotion because I cannot stand the ashy skin. I just cannot. So, pretty much personal care items. Next would be toothbrushes, next would be toothpaste, and of course, clothes. I guess I could live with like three clothes. Be one for just wandering around, one for just chilling, and then the other one for sleeping. Because it makes a difference what you wear when you go to sleep. We all know that. So I guess I would sort of wash and rinse, like, the as I wear them, I would just go to this little source of running water and just let it wash it, let it dry while I wear the next pair of clothes, whatever, and then continue the cycle just like that. Um, what else? Oh my goodness, entertainment of some sort. So I would somehow try to bring a grand piano with me because I'm not going to try to bring electronics with me, but I definitely just I need music. Something about it puts me at ease. Um, and definitely I should consider a hunting tool because I know that I cannot really fend for myself like that. So, um, would I choose a blade or would I choose a gun? Probably the blade because it is not likely to die out on me as fast as a gun. Like, that needs ammunition because that means I would have to choose that as my ninth item to bring. So, I don't know. This is so complicated. I just cannot think about what 10 things to bring to an island. Let me be a diva in developed society, all right? But yeah, that and oh my god, what else? I guess a tent because I sure as hell wouldn't know how to make one from scratch. So, just something to sort of put over my head to just protect me from the elements here and there. And I guess I have one more item. What else would it be? I don't know. Matches, probably, because I am sure that I don't know how to start a fire from just striking two rocks together. That's probably the most disappointing list that you guys could ever imagine hearing, but that lets you know just how clueless I am about living in the wild. And as a modern person, I don't think about that stuff, but I guess I should because anytime disaster can strike, so this stuff is important. But but anyways, let's see. I think someone dropped a comment. Let me see what you said. Let me see. Is your social maybe the first and I thanks so much for your some knife and I would be good. Mention the matches and the knife. Good. That makes me feel so much better about myself. Let's see. Do a mother daughter. You know what? I have thought about it, but I don't think that mom wants to like put her face out there, at least for now. So maybe that's why we haven't done it yet, but I'm pretty sure in the future that's something I would do. So I have not completely discarded that idea, but it may be a while before we get to it. But yeah, I can see myself doing that in the future. What if you were badly injured in an accident and your car ran off the road and it was hidden from sight? That is dark. Well, I guess if I'm badly injured, then I guess I don't have much to worry about because my time would be probably really, really ticking. And if I become a missing person as a result of this accident, I will be found pretty quickly because I feel like in modern days, you really have to premeditate your disappearance in order to go missing for such a long time. And at least in the area where I live in, you will get found. Just trust me, I will be found. So, really, no big deal when it comes to that one. What if you were invited to high tea with the Queen of England? So, okay, Queen of England. So, if I were to see Her Majesty, for starters, I don't even think that I would make it past the. Please tell me that place is called Buckingham Palace. Palace? Because my attire would deem me inappropriate. I would be wearing leggings, and basically look sporty like always. And I am not giving that up. I am not going to wear a hat because I am not a fan of hats. Like, when do you guys ever see me wearing a hat? For the love of God, I have not brushed my hair in 5 days. What makes you think that I am going to be willing to go out of my way to make myself presentable for this lady who has seen generations of people being born and die? Do I owe respect? I guess, but I owe respect to you. I owe respect to my neighbor. I owe respect to everybody, the president, even if I don't like him. So, am I supposed to make this a big deal? Like, it doesn't really excite me. It could be my favorite vocalist. It wouldn't excite me. So, also, I can imagine that this would be a very stressful experience because this is the Queen of England. Everyone knows the Queen, and I'm going to be up there making a fool of myself, hanging out with this lady who I just don't know her. I don't know much about her country. I just really don't even know her role because, as far as I know, the monarchy in England isn't even what governs the land, right? So, what am I doing with this lady? I don't need to be going to have tea with this lady. And on top of that, I personally don't like tea. Give me some water or give me some chocolate milk. You can have your tea, lady, but for me, give me chocolate milk. So, yeah, I would be the last person in the world who you should invite to hang out with this lady because I will make a fool of myself. I will probably disrespect the people of England and I would be banned from the country. And yeah, I don't need to be going to have tea with Queen Elizabeth. Okay. So don't nobody show her the stream because I don't want to like be banned from visiting. But I'm just saying this is a what if question. So to summarize it and be a little more serious, it really doesn't excite me and it's not something that I dream of. And honestly, even if it's just sitting with her for one day, maybe for an hour or so, I just I have to give up so much of who I am to be there with her. Like politeness, manners. I don't have those for like to present on a royal level. See what I mean? It's like she's from another hierarchy in society and I'm from another one. We just don't mix, and that's okay. So I don't want to put myself in a position where I am not going to be comfortable, especially if I can avoid it. Like, how is me meeting her going to benefit me, and how is she meeting me going to benefit her? In no way. So, like, no, no, just please, no, just don't. Big fan of the idea of royalty. You know what? I need to find me a crown. I am going to wear a crown and do a royalty stream. I'm not. Trust me, I'm not. Embarrassing. Let's see. Gotta go, Zamri, and then he attaches $5. I enjoyed your questions, and thanks a lot for your donations as well. Great questions, Adam. Hope to see you here again. Peace, brother. But yeah, that was a fun question. I'm over here trying to like disrespect the queen. That is so awful of me. What if you were offered the opportunity to go into space? You know what? I feel like being an astronaut is every kid's dream. For me, it never really has been because I always knew of the hazards of the space life, honestly. But if I had a chance to go, I wouldn't say no, but I don't want to spend more than a day out there. That's for sure. So if it's possible for me to just do kind of a touch and go, then I would do it. But actually hanging out there for like a week or so, no, no, no. And there's no telling what that's going to do to my stomach. So I don't need to be going out in space. I can hardly handle life on the ground. I don't need to be going up in space. Just saying. What if you were shipwrecked on an uninhabited island? Well, I guess I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that scenario. I have never imagined it. I've never been in it, but if it happened, I guess I would try to use all the technology that's available on the ship to make my presence known. If the ship has the capacity to send out messages and signals and whatnot, but if I were on an uninhabited island, is this going to be another Castaway movie scenario type of deal? This dude's plane crashed in the ocean, but I don't know. I don't like to think about scenarios like that because um, they're so unlikely that only when they happen is when I really know what I'll do because my adrenaline will kick in and do its magical things. So, but yeah, I cannot really elaborate on an answer for that one because I'm A, painfully unimaginative, and B, I just don't possess that level of critical thinking. What if you were president of the United States? Well, for starters, I'm not obsessed about building a wall, a huge wall. Okay, that's the only mockery I'm gonna do. But okay, if I were president, for starters, it is probably the most stressful job in the world. I don't care for it. I'm not trying to be president. That's why I don't have a high education. And even if I did have a higher education, I just don't pursue that. I don't like that type of position of power because all eyes are on me. I am going to be constantly criticized. It's like, how do I make decisions, execute laws and whatnot that overall satisfy everybody? Because I feel like the challenge in politics is okay, you roll out a policy, but it is going to benefit some people while affecting other people. And there is nothing else in life that revolts me more than unfairness. So I would be so obsessed with making things right with everybody that at some point the reality will hit me, which is I cannot save everything, I cannot save everybody. So my presidency would be particularly disastrous. I have no sense of how to run a government. I have no sense of how to be a leader. And I just don't want that type of pressure. Like everything that I say is going to be over analyzed and I I just don't have the skills, period. I don't have the knowledge. I don't know what it takes to be president. And I don't think anybody is really ever ready to take on that job, but for me personally, especially being that I'm underage to be president, maybe that's the reason I feel this way. I need more experience. I need to hit the big 35 to be able to pursue this anyway, but I'm not interested in being president. It's just asking for disaster. So, but if I were president, if I could change something, I guess it would be I would try redistributing funds a little bit because, okay, I'm not saying that the military is not important, but seriously, just how much more do we need to keep investing in the military to keep the country safe? I feel like some of those funds could be redistributed to, say, the education sector that really, really, really is finding itself in dire situations in some states. To me, that's important because education is what shapes the minds of the men and women of the future. So we need to invest in education, period. So I would make that a like important thing, but at the same time, I just don't know. So I'm not even going to dwell on that question any further because I just don't know. You guys know it. I live a very simplistic life. So to put me in charge of the most powerful nation in the world is just asking for disaster. So let the Donald handle it, I guess, if he can. I'll go into space if they terraform a tropical planet. Because Mars is like small, so that being a tropical planet, it would be, yeah, yeah, yeah. If I went to space, well, have you seen Red Dwarf? I imagine it would be kind of like that. I have not. I would reject the sovereignty of third world countries and democratic social system. Oh God, Zam, please exist. The third world countries. See, I just don't have my brain is not wired to think politics. But yeah, I think that I would do a little bit of redistribution of funds, which of course it's usually what challenges every single presidency, it seems, but I don't know. I don't know. Like, how about this? Present to me a giant folder with all the like the state of every industry, I guess, like education and affairs, trade, commerce, whatever. Just break it down for me, and then I'll look at it, have an opinion on it, analyze it, and I'll be like, okay, this is the big bank of the United States. This is all my budget. Here's how I'll divide it up: the health sector, all that. And then maybe I can break it down and think about this a little better, but straight off my head is I'm not qualified. I'm not qualified. So please do not put my name on that ballot. Not that it matters because the Electoral College doesn't even know I exist, but anyways, what if you woke up and could not speak your native language but only one that you could not understand? You know what? That absolutely thinking about that just cracks my skull because well, clearly there are more languages that I don't understand that I understand. But if I could not speak my native language, for starters, I literally would not know anybody because everyone who I know speaks English. We communicate in English. So to take English away from me, it means that I would not understand pretty much the most international language ever. So I'm going to be in period. That just that just trouble. Trouble. It would be depressing. That's for sure. Because life as I knew it, my reality as I knew it, I'm going to be extremely disoriented. So, like, I will not understand what my phone says. I would not understand what you guys say. Like, just no. I would not even understand some of the stuff I see outside, like road signs. It's mostly illustrations, but sometimes there are signs that say construction ahead. What if I don't know what that means and I just smash into this construction site? Yeah, it would be terrifying. It would be a very disorienting experience that I hope no one ever has to go through. What if you woke up and discovered that you are the only person on earth? That would be miserable. That is the best way that I can describe that. Because I'm the only person on earth. Life as I know it is gone. I'm all by myself. I only know how to survive because of the contributions of other people into my life. So to not have other people helping make my life comfortable as I know it, I can't do it. I can't handle it. That would be incredibly depressing. Incredibly depressing. What if spread around the world? That would be challenging, incredibly challenging. We would go extinct, same with socialism. Yeah, that's about it. Um, let's see. Well, this was a weird question. It says, what if you woke up one morning with only the clothes you sleep in, all alone, in another country, unable to speak the country's language. Pretty much the same scenario as what if I woke up speaking a language that's not my maternal language? It would be a very disorienting experience, terrifying, and hopefully my missing persons case would go pretty widespread to where my family would recognize me and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, we know that girl. She's from over here. Just send her over here to back to America. What is this girl doing over there in I don't know, China, Switzerland?" What if you could live anywhere in the world? Where would you live? That's another difficult question. I've never thought about this. But I want to live somewhere that isn't so obsessed with being a capitalist society. Um, but if I had to choose a new country, I would want to try for myself the so called top nations that always make it to be the happiest places on earth, like Finland, Norway, places like that up there in Europe. Just because, not because I'm absolutely believing that their way of life supports my happiness, but I would like to experience that for myself. And we got to remember that that is someone else's opinion. Someone else's opinion is not indicative that is going or that they perceive it. So if they say that nations, their definition of happy may not go hand in hand with mine, but I would give those places a chance. But if I were to relocate within the United States, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I want to say Alaska, but then I remember that there it's a complete different geography, and honestly, I'm not well equipped for the weather either. And the wildlife is no joke, I would imagine. So that would be a terrible idea. Hawaii is very, it has a very crazy weather. I'm not sure that I could enjoy that for long. But shoot, I don't know. I'm so close minded when it comes to moving and trying new places. What is wrong with me? I need to think more critically about my residency. I guess I could also give uh, Britain a chance, but specifically Scotland, because I heard someone vent about it one time in a very positive way. So I'm like, okay, what makes you love Scotland so much? Okay, I gotta go see this for myself. So I don't know. I need to push the Scotland button on this person again and see what they have to say. What if you found out that your house was infested with snakes? Well, it's been good to be here. It's been good to know this house, but I am leaving and not coming back. It doesn't matter what I leave behind. I don't care for snakes, which is ironic because my all-time favorite fictional character is codenamed Snake. What if you had a money tree growing up in your backyard, bitch? I would put in my 2 days at work. Not even 2 weeks. 2 days for me to leave. But if I had a money tree growing, I guess it would be nice to not have to stress over my finances, like not having to work for money. Money's just there. I need $20 to get gas. Yoink, just uh, detach the $20 bill from the tree, and that takes care of my problems. But at the same time, I like the aspect of having to work to make a living, except that I don't like the unfairness that's attached to it on some extents. For instance, if I get sick, I shouldn't have to sweat over how my bills are going to get paid. I am human, I get sick, I cannot predict when I get sick. So I shouldn't have to stress over whether or not in my next paycheck, I can count with my bills being paid. So it would be nice to have a little tree that just resolves everything. But at the same time, I can see how that would become exhausting and boring because if I have money that's inexhaustible, then what is my purpose? Eventually, I will have spoiled myself with everything that I want, traveled everywhere that I want. So, what would be the next step? You know, maybe I would have kids and dedicate a whole lot of time to being with them because I don't have to work for money. Money just grows in my backyard. So, it would be nice to spend all that time with them. But I don't know. I feel like it's important to have to actually work for money so that you stay busy and maybe just don't die faster from lack of activity. I don't know. And also, going out and working helps you meet people, which can really enhance your life experience. So it's a good thing, but at the same time, I can find reasons why that would be bad. What if you had the chance to write a best selling novel? Would it be a romance, mystery, or factual historical account? Definitely a factual historical account because if you guys have been watching me, dash listening to me for a long time, you will know that telling stories is my favorite thing to do. And I like to talk about things that are true. I don't really dwell on fiction that much unless you guys really want to hear me express my opinion on something, but I like to talk about things that are actually practical. What if you were excellent at sport? Which sport would you choose and why? Gymnastics! Only because um, that seems to challenge every single part of you: flexibility, endurance, balance. I feel like the discipline that it takes to be successful at gymnastics is something else. And I feel like when you have a gymnast in your team, the gymnast tends to be able to fit into other sports. Yeah, yeah, just gymnastics. I love acrobatics a whole lot. So that is definitely the best sport for me. And that is the end of the questions that I have reserved for today, isn't it? Yeah, this thing is taking forever to load. Yeah, yeah, those were it. Actually, no, I have two more. Okay. What if you had the chance to write a best-selling novel? Would it be a romance, mystery, or factual historical account? And singing, which one of those I do too well. So I would like to be famous of playing the piano and being a vocal. It's something that's not a very unique skill. I like to be known for being unique. That's all for right now that I can see myself doing. I don't care for touring, but if being a good singer and piano player is going to make me a living, then sure, why not? What if you could have any job that you wanted? Well, once again, you guys know that one of my favorite things to do is to tell stories. So I guess my ideal career, which I made a video about this a long time ago, would be independent journalism. I like the idea of me being my own boss and I can decide which story I want to talk about, which story I want to cover, what I want to focus, who I will interview, where will I be at, so on and so forth. I like the idea of just having control of my direction when it comes to the job that I'm doing. So yeah, you guys, I am going to conclude this stream right here. There is a few more questions that I found interesting that I shall reschedule, or I don't schedule these, but in the future visit and go over and do another one of these because these are fun. But yeah, if you have answers to any of those questions and you want to let me know your opinion, just drop me a comment and I'll be sure to see it. And yeah, just keep the conversation going. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you soon.